Imagine a cold autumn day in 1976, when a Soviet pilot made a decision that would change the course of the Cold War forever. Imagine a cold autumn day in 1976, when a Soviet pilot made a decision that would change the course of the Cold War forever. This pilot, Viktor Belenko, would make history not just by his courage, but by the massive intelligence coup he delivered to the West. The aircraft he piloted, the MiG-25 Foxbat, was one of the most feared and enigmatic machines of its time, a symbol of Soviet technological prowess that had captivated and terrified the West for years. The MiG-25 Foxbat first came to the attention of the United States and its allies in the 1960s. Initial spy satellite photos revealed a massive, imposing aircraft with engine, intakes the size of small cars and wings that seemed designed for unparalleled maneuverability. These features suggested a plane capable of extreme speeds and altitudes, a machine that could potentially outmaneuver and outgun the best that the West had to offer. The Americans were particularly concerned about the Foxbat's potential to intercept and destroy their high-flying SR-71 Blackbird spy planes and heavy bombers. The Foxbat was a mystery, a threat that haunted the corridors of power in Washington and NATO HQ. Viktor Ivanovich Belenko was born on February 15, 1947, in the Soviet city of Nalchik. From a young age, he was drawn to the skies, and his passion led him to the Soviet Air Force Academy, where he honed his skills as a pilot. After graduation, Belenko was assigned to the Soviet Air Defense Forces and entrusted with flying the MiG-25 Foxbat. As a lieutenant, he was stationed at Chugaevka Air Base in the Russian Far East, a frontline position in the ongoing Cold War. Despite his success, Belenko grew increasingly disillusioned with the Soviet regime. The oppressive political environment, the lack of personal freedoms, and the economic hardships he and his fellow citizens faced began to take their toll. The dream of serving his country was overshadowed by the reality of a system that stifled individuality and creativity. This growing sense of disenchantment would ultimately lead him to make a fateful decision. On September 6, 1976, Belenko took off from Chugaevka Air Base on what was supposed to be a routine training flight. As he ascended into the sky, he followed the flight plan he had been given, but his true intentions were far from routine. Once he reached a certain altitude, Belenko made a sharp climb and then descended rapidly, heading for the open waters of the Pacific. He had a destination in mind: Japan. Japanese radar picked up an unidentified aircraft, and within 10 minutes, two F-4EJ fighters from the 302nd Tactical Fighter Squadron at Chitose Air Base near Sapporo were scrambled to intercept. Belenko had anticipated this and hoped the Japanese planes would escort him to a safe landing. However, the weather was poor, and the Japanese ground radar struggled to keep up with the Foxbat. The F-4EJs, equipped with ineffective radar, also failed to spot Belenko's aircraft. As his fuel began to run low, Belenko faced a critical decision. He had to land. He chose Hakodate Airport in southern Hokkaido, a civilian airport not equipped to handle a military jet like the Foxbat. The landing was chaotic. Belenko nearly collided with a passenger jet on final approach, and the runway was too short for the Foxbat. Despite deploying the drogue parachute, the aircraft overran the runway by 240 meters, 790 feet, and lost its front tire. It had narrowly missed crashing into the airport's localizer antenna. When Belenko exited the jet, he found himself surrounded by a crowd of airport workers and curious locals. To disperse the crowd, he fired his service pistol into the air. The police arrived around 2:10 p.m. and secured the area, shutting down the airport. Belenko was promptly arrested and charged with violating Japanese airspace and firearms offenses. During his police interviews, Belenko made a crucial request. He asked for political asylum in the United States. The Soviet Union, desperate to reclaim one of their most skilled pilots and one of their most advanced aircraft, demanded an interview with Belenko. They claimed he had simply gotten lost and accused the Japanese of drugging him. On September 7, Belenko was transferred to Tokyo, and on September 8, the United States announced that it had granted him political asylum. While Belenko himself was a valuable source of intelligence, the true treasure was the MiG-25 Foxbat he had brought with him. The aircraft and its instruction manual provided the West with an unprecedented look at Soviet technology. The findings were both surprising and reassuring. The MiG-25 was indeed capable of incredible speeds and altitudes, but it was far from the invincible superweapon the West had feared. The aircraft's primary structure was made of a nickel-steel alloy, not the advanced titanium that had been assumed. This choice allowed the MiG-25 to withstand the high temperatures generated at Mach 3 speeds, but made the aircraft heavier and less agile. The avionics and radar systems were also a significant disappointment. They relied on outdated vacuum tube technology, which was considered inferior to Western standards. The Foxbat was designed to intercept American bombers flying at high altitudes, but by the time Belenko defected, the Americans had changed their tactics. They had replaced their older bombers with the Northrop Grumman B-2 stealth bomber, which flew low and fast. The Foxbat's radar was incapable of detecting such a plane. Furthermore, the aircraft lacked guns and could carry only 4 missiles, which significantly reduced its service ceiling and maneuverability. In essence, the MiG-25 was a high-speed, high-altitude interceptor with limited strategic value. The implications of Belenko's defection were far-reaching. The West gained crucial intelligence that debunked the myths surrounding the Foxbat's capabilities, reshaped military strategies, and delivered a significant propaganda victory. The Soviet Union was dealt a humiliating blow, both in terms of prestige and security. The event demonstrated the willingness of a Soviet pilot to defect and expose the vulnerabilities and limitations of what was thought to be one of the USSR's most advanced military assets. In the aftermath of the defection, the United States and Japan decided to further embarrass the Soviet Union. After allowing American experts to thoroughly examine the MiG-25, the Japanese shipped the aircraft back to the Soviet Union in 30 crates. The outraged Soviets demanded $10 million in compensation for the damage done to the plane, to which Japan responded with a $40,000 shipping bill. The incident became a source of amusement and a symbol of the technological and ideological superiority of the West. Viktor Belenko's defection and the subsequent analysis of the MiG-25 Foxbat had far-reaching implications. It provided the West with critical intelligence that reassured them about their technological edge, reshaped military strategies, and delivered a significant propaganda victory. The event also underscored the importance of verifying intelligence, especially when it came from the Soviet Union. Belenko's daring escape and the secrets he brought with him remain a pivotal moment in the history of the Cold War, a reminder of the human and technological dimensions of this intense geopolitical rivalry. The legacy of Viktor Belenko and the MiG-25 Foxbat continues to resonate today. It serves as a testament to the individual courage that can shape the course of history and the power of intelligence to alter the balance of global power. The story of this Soviet pilot and his enigmatic aircraft remains an enduring tale of intrigue, bravery, and the unpredictable nature of international relations. What do you think were the most significant long-term impacts of Viktor Belenko's defection and the MiG-25 Foxbat's exposure? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating historical mysteries and stories.